Good morning, everyone. Appreciate everybody's attendance today. We will convene the Fayette County Commissioners meeting Wednesday, November 21st, 10:01 a.m. Please stand for a prayer and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we pray? Dear Almighty God, in Jesus' name we come before you today, and we thank you for our beautiful county. We thank you for so many blessings. We thank you for traditional marriage, which PA completely supports. We thank you, Lord, for our Constitution and laws, which supports our freedom to protect oneself with a weapon, and that we find its basis found in Luke chapter 22. And Lord, we thank you for life, for babies unborn and born. We thank you for the United States military, and that you ask a special blessing upon them as they will be away from home. Protect them, Father, and bring them home safe to us. We thank you, Lord, though, Father, for right now, for those 10 commandments that are standing tall at Collinsville. We pray, Lord, that we will be able to continue to see them stand there. We thank you, Lord, for the United States of America most of all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, if you don't, without any objection, Pastor Marietta, I think, had a few other things he wanted to add after he offered his morning prayer.
Thank you. As many of you may have known, we are, as of right now, trying to keep the Ten Commandments Monument in Collinsville. It's been there since 1957. But the history of that goes back to 1943, when the Fraternal Order of Eagles started a youth commission. In 1946, Judge R.G. Ridgemer, while serving as a juvenile court judge in Minnesota, had a 16-year-old young man come before him charged with seriously injuring a man that he struck while driving a car. The judge decided to suspend his sentence upon meeting with the officer and learning the Ten Commandments. The young man said, "I do not know what the Ten Commandments say." And the judge said, "Have you never read that thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not do other things, as you know?" And the judge went on to say, "Well, they're in every law book that I have here." And he says, "Well, how am I supposed to find them?" So that judge then started to place placards around his area, and then it spread out throughout the nation. And then in 1956, Cecil B. DeMille made the film The Ten Commandments. And it turns out that one of those wonderful movie releases happened to take place in Collinsville in 1957, when the monument was placed. And Cecil B. DeMille had pushed forth and wanted the monument to be placed at approximately the same time the movie was being released in Collinsville. Collinsville at the time had 4 theaters. It had a theater, and there's also a theater in Dunbar, and there were several here in Uniontown at the time. So it just made sense. They were promoting good citizenship. They weren't necessarily promoting any religion, just good citizenship. In 1958, by the way, the ACLU actually approved this monument, saying that is fine, it can be there. The ACLU did this. But as you know, in September, the Collinsville was told that they had to move it. They were threatened with a lawsuit. And I'm asking our county commissioners to stand up with us on this issue. This is an opportunity for us to show that we believe it's a historical landmark here in our county. Also, I want you to understand that our freedoms are guaranteed by the Constitution. As an American citizen, a former United States Army soldier, this is where we find our basis for our laws. And I'm asking that we stand up for this. We'd stand up and let it be known that we want this to stay where it is. And I drew up a proclamation. If the county commissioners would be so kind as to look at this, it says, the proclamation says this: by the County of Fayette, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, this Ten Commandment monument and the land upon which it was erected and dedicated by the Fraternal Order of Eagles in 1957 is hereby designated a historic landmark by the County of Fayette, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Viewed across time, this granite monument signifying the rock of American law and jurisprudence, has had a profound positive influence on we the people and is worthy of preservation for the future generations of this one nation under God. Registered in the County of Fayette, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, this 21st day of November 2012 AD.
As I explained to the pastor, the Board of Commissioners, and I'm speaking for myself, we don't have the governing authority, as you know, to designate anything as a historical landmark. That would be up to the Pennsylvania Historic Museum Commission, and you're in the process of petitioning them for that designation. However, I do agree that the Ten Commandments is the moral cornerstone of our nation, and would gladly support any initiative to advance that message. I don't know what we would be required to do. We'd have to have our solicitors review it.
This is just a proclamation just stating that you, as county commissioners, believe that this is a historic landmark. This wouldn't necessarily mean that it will mean that the state has to recognize it as such. No, just that you recognize it as a historic landmark.
I do as a county commissioner and as a human being. I'll yield to my other colleagues for any additional comment.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, obviously, everybody here is more than aware of the way this country was founded, based on religious freedoms. And so I agree that this is certainly a worthy cause to support, and I will. In addition, as Commissioner Zapatowski already stated, this is something that obviously we want our solicitors to review to make sure that we avoid any litigation in the future.
I understand.
So if you could present a copy, Commissioner Zimmerling, I'm sorry.
I agree. The county commissioners, as you know, have no authority to designate anything as a historic landmark. That is up to the Pennsylvania Museum, the Historical Museum Commission, and you have to go through a process. So if the county commissioners proclaim this, as you have read it and sent this to us, it says to designate it as a historic landmark. We are unable to do that. And it would have no significance, it would have no authority, it would carry no legal weight.
It would be symbolic.
It would be more symbolic. Well, it's okay to be symbolic, but to actually state that we as county commissioners designate, I mean, listen to the words that you wrote and you said, designate as a historic landmark. It may be symbolic, okay, but we still have no authority, and I would prefer not to proclaim something that we have absolutely no authority to designate.
So perhaps we could rephrase it?
The other thing too is with respect to litigation. I recall a few months ago that there was a group of individuals who wanted the county commissioners to do a letter of support or a proclamation for something regarding the Marcellus Shell impact fees. And the majority of the board was very hesitant because there was litigation involved. Well, the same, I would imagine that the same process and same thinking of my fellow two commissioners would be the same in this manner. If anything, it could be changed that we would proclaim that it would be as the Ten Commandments having a historic significance, perhaps. But pending the litigation, pending the status of your application, I think that the commissioner should review that application, and then we can make the decision on whether or not to sign on and be a co-sponsor or something of that nature. I think you have to give the county, because it's not just us three. We are doing this. We would be holding the county as the representative. Plus, we need to have public input. Okay, on something like that, it's not just a proclamation. It goes a little bit deeper than that. So I would suggest that whoever you have preparing that document for the request, and just so you know, I've been through that. It's a very long, exhaustive process. you can provide that information to the county, and we can review it and then go from there.
Well, actually, we haven't applied for Pennsylvania. We've applied for the National Historic Landmark. So this is where we're at currently. This was an opportunity. We were hoping that the county could proclaim it, whether it be symbolic or not. It helps the balls roll, per se. It kind of gives it a little kick down the road and helps it move a little better for us. But I understand we will go back to the drawing board and see if we can change some wording, and maybe that will be sufficient for the solicitors to.
I want to thank you for your efforts, because what you're doing is a good thing. That marker was there for decades. Those 10 commandments are, as I said, the cornerstone of the Judeo-Christian society in which we were founded upon. So I want to thank you, and I will support your initiative, obviously providing it meets the legal muster that is necessary to protect the county from exposure.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you, and God bless you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Pastor.
and happy Thanksgiving to all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
if you need a place to eat, come out and visit us at the church. We're having dinner at noon
Okay.
tomorrow. So
Thank you, Pastor.
God bless.
Okay, under public comments on agenda items, I'm going to ask if there are no objections. I see we have a lot of very hard-working township supervisors here today, and they came to make some public comments, and I know they're all anxious to get back to work and make sure that they efficiently and effectively spend the taxpayers' dollars. So with no objections, if there's a spokesman that would like to come up and make his comments.
I took my pit hat off. I don't want to offend any Penn State people.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that.
My name's Joe Petrucci. I'm representing Township Supervisors Association. And I think today we have all 24 townships represented here. The reason being, it's the single most important issue that we have ever faced. That being the Act 13 impact fee money. I'll read a statement here, and then maybe we can expound on some of the things. But we township supervisors are here because of our concern with the negative impact from the Marcellus drilling. Safety issues on our road system and how to pay for them is our biggest concern. We know for certain the Act 13 impact fee money allotted to the townships falls short of what is needed to address the problems caused by the drilling and pipeline process. And this is key. We have learned from the drilling of the many conventional wells what the actual damage to our road system is. That's been a great learning process for us. What is happening with the Marcellus drilling is and will be much more severe. And remember, the Utica Shale, which holds more gas than the Marcellus, is not yet tapped. A conservative estimate is that we will have 30 to 50 years of drilling activity in our county. Our county does not own a road system, and in no way is impacted in the adverse way the townships are. The Act 13 funding to our county is more of a pleasant windfall when compared to the township's need for these funds. A very important point to remember is our constituents are your constituents. You're one and the same. course, we realize that you guys are being tugged at from every direction by all elected officials and others. And their intentions and causes probably all have merit. But the big question is, how are they impacted? And the key word here is impact. This is an impact fee. How are they impacted by the drilling? And can their needs compare to the township's costly obligation to provide safe roads for our citizens? Of course, we don't think so. Collectively, and I'm not pointing this out to toot our horn or anything, but just to show you that we've become pretty much experts on what happens to our roads in this process. Collectively, we have 700 years of experience in serving the public. Over 700 years. We're more qualified by far than anyone else on this critical matter. And we hope you would please consider that and respect that when you make your decision. But before going any further, I'd like to go back a little bit and talk about what's happening to our roads. And if anybody from the supervisors would like to chime in, is that all right, or am I just... Okay. But if you go back and look at the road systems that we have in our townships, most of them started as horse and buggy roads back in the 20s and before. And then as automobiles became popular, Model A, Model T, they started to make improvements to the roads for people to get around on. And that's continued. But it evolved from just dirt roads to roads that were that had to be paved in some way. So let me go back a little further. Township supervisors were allowed to, back then, and still are, as a matter of fact, it's never been removed from the code book, go onto properties and quarry stone to build roads with. And that's what they did. And in fact, we have several in our township, old quarries. But the stone that they quarried was always sandstone. So most of the road bases are old sandstone road bases. And then in the 30s, and when there was more cars, the 30s and 40s, we started to do what they call pancaking, or tar and chipping of these roads. And that was your standard procedure for 20-some years, into the late 50s, early 60s, actually. Some roads were paved, but not many. This was the standard way of paving. So, again, as people demanded better roads, we started to pave these roads. And what you have now are, basically that type of road with 4, 5, 6, 8 inches of pavement on top. Depends on how many times the road got paved over the years. So they're not good roads. It's not a good system. If we were building roads today, we would use limestone, and it would be done much differently. But now picture this. We had enough trouble just taking care of the roads as they were, but now we have this Marcellus shale drilling. To frack one well, of which there's usually 3 wells on a pad or more, it takes approximately 3,000 heavyweight trucks carrying water to do that. It takes 4 to 5 million gallons of water to frack a well. Now, a second well, there's not as much truck traffic. I think it's 20% less for the second and third well, because some of the water is reused. But basically, it takes, to do a well, 7,000 to 9,000 trucks traveling on these roads, many times in freeze and thaw conditions, spring weather. But if it was in perfect weather, what happens is they pulverize the roads. It happened just on these shallow wells. Now, with these Marcellus wells, it's much, much, much worse. So what's happening gas companies have been pretty cooperative. They've come in and they've paved most of the roads that they've destroyed. But they fight us every step of the way on taking care of the real problem. They come in and do what we call paint job, 1.5 inches or 2 inches, and it looks good for a while. But when they're long gone, 4 or 5 years down the road, you get the spider cracking, the road starts to fall apart, and we're stuck with it. And it's not cheap to pave a mile of road. It costs about $100,000 to put 2 inches of pavement on a road. And this is happening, folks. That's not something we're making up here. This is really happening. It's going to happen into the future. But I guess I could go on and on about how this is affecting.
May I ask one question?
Yeah.
In your opinion, the amount of the impact fee that has been allocated to the county or to the municipalities, that falls way short of what is really, really needed to maintain the problems that you are going to incur via your road systems over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Would you say that is the case?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So there's going to have to be steps taken, hopefully, at levels higher than the people in this room to correct this action.
Well, let me shed a little light on that. Townships are only allowed to bond a road for $12,500 per mile. Okay? That was established in 1978. We have been trying to get that changed ever since.
In the legislature, has it been at any?
We fall on deaf ears. Obviously, the lobby for the trucking industry and whoever's in the logging industry and so forth is very strong, and they make sure that doesn't get changed. It's been tried many times. So for us to hope that this would be changed in the future,
Wishful thinking would be.
it is. I mean, we like to say townships take a quarter and turn it into $1, and PennDOT takes $1 and turns it into a quarter. I mean, we do with a lot less every year. We have mandates. Some of the mandates that we've got now. Hey Jay, what about the water situation then?
MS4s.
Yeah.
May I, Commissioner?
Sure.
I would say by this time next year, every township in this room will be mandated under an MS4. If you're not familiar with what an MS4 is, I'm sure Kurt Matthews could be more than willing to bring you up to snuff on it. He's not a real fan of an MS4. What it means is we'd have to check our water on our outflows to flow into any streams. And us smaller townships, as you guys all know, because you're familiar with our stories, the smaller townships definitely have a burden with unfunded mandates. And that's what it'll be. It'll be another unfunded mandate trickling down to the point where we'll have to go out and have an engineering company go out and survey every one of our discharge pipes. Record all the discharge pipes, and under any kind of water, any rainfall, water discharge into these streams, we'll have to test it. And that'll come with a cost. And as Joe says, over the years, we've spoken with you guys and ladies about the liquid fuel situation. And when you come to us about you have bridges and you have a problem with your bridges, we all understood that. And we all understood that you needed to take that money and use it to repair your problems. I think where Joe's going with this is we're just asking for some of that money to be put back, when it used to come back to local government.
And we're having the same problem, just in different forms of unfunded mandates that you folks are having as well. It's, when you look at CYS type of issues. So we're having this same thing. I mean, we're all technically, in my opinion, we're all in the same boat, because we're catching the shortfall from the federal government and then subsequently the state government, and it's coming down to the counties and local government levels.
But I guess, again, who's hurt the most here in the pocketbook? It's the townships. We're impacted greater than anyone. You know, when they came up with this law, people from legislators and senators from the east who have no Marcellus shell, they wanted some of that money.
That your impacts, them unfunded mandates you're referring to, aren't coming from the end of the gas well industry.
No, I'm just saying it's just a different set of unfunded mandates.
Yes.
That's all I was saying.
I think German Township has a problem now. You guys have to produce.
It's unbelievable the amount of damage that we're occurring out in German Township. It's just not with just the roads by all means, commissioners, but now we are faced with bridges that not only that, $300,000 to put one culvert box bridge in. And not only that, our roads, we have roads, but like Joe said, paving roads is the easy thing, but your sub-base, you can pave all the roads you want to pave. If you don't have a sub-base under our roads, which were made back in the early 1900s for Model T Fords and little pickup trucks and small trucks, now you have these trucks out there impacting the roads that are hauling, you know, thousands and thousands of gallons of water and grime, and you have no idea the phone calls and the people who complain about the dust, the dirt, the noise. It's unbelievable.
One of the biggest
Unbelievable.
problems.
German Township is really, really being hammered bad, and we're like everybody else. We feel that we have a lot less like Manalapan and surrounding townships. We are the ones who have the bulk of the oil wells in our townships, and we're being impacted more than anybody out there. And everybody got their hands out there wanting money, and we need to rebuild our roads and bridges because we're being impacted more than anybody else in the county. Is a small township with oil wells.
One of the problems that's cropped up here now with the industry, you know, at first everything was great. Well, we're going to help you out. But now there's an impact fee. So their attitude has changed. Why would they want to help you when now they have to pay? Why do they want to pay twice? And that's the way it's starting to go.
Commissioner Zapatowski, I have one more thing. We have 7 bridges right now that are very, very deplorable that the state and have to be replaced from our engineer standpoint, that have to be fixed and replaced within a certain amount of time, or they're going to shut these bridges and roads down, and we're just faced like everybody else. Where do we get $300,000 for a culvert box bridge to handle, you know, those big trucks?
Another one of the problems that has cropped up, I know you guys are facing it right now. The drilling company wants to know how you came up with the ordinance to put a 10-ton weight limit on your road. They got a bank of lawyers. We got a solicitor. You know, it's going to cost them thousands of dollars to redo their ordinances if they get challenged in court. And that's just German. That's just starting there.
One more other thing is also one more point I have to make. If the county and the state will quit making us have permits for everything we do, I mean, you have to have a permit for everything you do in the county. And it is absurd for us to have our people in our county move out of our county to meet the mandates and the permits, just permits for everything you do. It's absolutely absurd how DEP and all these people can come in there and mandate permit for this, permit for that, and we have to abide by it, and that costs lots and lots of money. If we would quit permitting people in townships and help each other out, it wouldn't be this situation. But everybody's out for that dollar.
We know
For nothing, paperwork.
The other thing is pretty much in German Township, just like when they come in, like 1 year they put almost $1 million in pavement in our area. And then now that $1 million, those roads right there are falling apart. So we have to fix them. You know, we have to put them back together, just like the guide rails they put up. Once the guide rails are up and they look nice and everything, but once someone starts smacking them, hitting them, we're the ones that got to replace them with the money and everything. So everything comes back out of our pocket, and we keep getting cut more and more every year on our monies. So.
just another little thing that the state did to us this year. When someone gets a traffic violation, and some of the heavyweight trucks that get that's a substantial amount of money. Well, the townships were getting half of that for years and years and years. The state took it off of us this year. We no longer get that. So they're taking money and mandating.
Hey, Joe, can I have one more?
Sure.
Commissioner, I'll give you a perfect example. We had a bridge that was down to 3-ton weight limit. We had to close it. It was closed for 3 years. And like everybody, you guys know, we begged, tried to get money. $280,000 to put this in. Central Bank gives us a loan. Dealing with the water authority, and it was Westmoreland at the time, wasn't fortunate enough to have North Fayette, because you could work with them a little bit. Westmoreland, they charged us $18,000 to relay a line that we could have did for $10 a foot. But, you know, because of them deals, and we went to the bank, we borrowed the money, so to fix that road, we tore the bridge out and we built a road. But now we got to pay that money. $300,000 for us out of a $600,000 budget. It just doesn't work out in the long run. And of course, you know, there's people impacted by that road being closed, let alone the ambulance and fire. I spoke to you guys about your bridges because we know you have bridges too. But on the other end of that, they're bonding our roads. I can't answer you if you're bonding your bridges. You know, and that's a big impact there also.
I think the Redstone has a problem. They just paved the road 5 or 6 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago?
300.
If you'd like to expound on that, George.
About 3 years ago, we had 2 roads, major roads in Redstone Township that we paid. It was approximately $300,000, and they're already starting to crack up. And, you know, $300,000, I'm sure we're getting a nice penny with the impact money, but it doesn't go far.
No,
it does not go far.
I guess our argument to you is, you know, the money has been kind of dropped in your lap. You're impacted in some legal ways, but not, you know, not the way we are. That's why we're after your money. I mean, let's be true. I'd like to have it all.
I'm not sure that.
No, it's not going to happen. But, and believe me, we didn't bring all of these supervisors here today to put undue pressure or political pressure or anything like that. These guys, there's more integrity in this room than you can believe. These guys don't make enough money. They work their butts off. They go out in icy road conditions. You know, I could go on and on about that, but they're passionate about this, and you know, that's why we're here. But we could probably make a lot of arguments. I think you got the gist of where we're at. You know. But so we have a suggestion on, you know, what we'd like to see happen. You know, we know there's some great causes out there. You know, you got the 9/11 system that benefits everybody in the county. You got, you know, hazmat, different things that you guys, I know, could put some money to that would help everybody. But what we need to see happen, I think, here is what we need is a permanent county ordinance. We'd like a permanent county ordinance in place that redistributes the Fayette County Act 13 impact fees at a rate of 60% of what you get each year. Those funds to be divided equally among all 24 townships. The merits of this permanent system are obvious. It allows for transparency to the public. They'll know where that money's going every year. It transcends administrations. When you're gone and we're gone, a policy will be in place. We'll all know how to use that money. We can do projections.
My math isn't that good. What would that equate to per?
You got 1.4 million this year.
Yeah, but if 60%, 24 townships, what would that yield per township?
I did it at
60,000
anybody got
$60,000 per township?
per township with a $1.4 million aggregate.
60,000 per township?
No, 24 into 1.4 isn't. 60% of 1.4.
Oh, 60% of 1.4.
I think it's like 26,000.
26,000 per township?
Yeah. And it, you know, it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but I'll give you a good for instance. With $30,000 this year, Manellan Township put 4,600 feet of water line in for with North Fayette. I mean, that's big. That's an impact. So this money is significant.
But ultimately it doesn't resolve our biggest problem.
But it helps.
Well, but I mean, our biggest problem is we still need more money coming piped down to the townships from the state for road infrastructure repair. I mean, that's ultimately the answer to this problem.
Yeah, but we can't solve every problem. We're here right now.
Oh, I understand. I was
You're right, absolutely. I mean, it's just, but keep in mind, since 1978, we've been looking at that 12.5 a mile, and we haven't made any progress on that. So,
well, they were supposed to fund the courts since what, 1981, I think, and we haven't seen that happen yet either. So I understand your frustration.
Commissioner, 29.1 was the number. 29,000.
Okay, thanks.
now that's going to change every year, because next year, instead of them paying 50 grand, I think they're going to pay 40. Okay, for the second year, and then it goes to 30 the third year, and then the fourth through the 10th years it goes down to 20,000. This is what the company pays the state, and then they take out their 40%, and then 60% comes back to all of us, and that's going to drop. But we're going to have a lot more wells drilled in the future too, so that's going to, it's going to fluctuate and change every year. But we will know at the beginning of the year, where we're going to be, and we can do our projections, and we can plan, and we can do our budgets, and then with what's left that you guys have, you'll be able to. We'll know every year how much money is going to be there. So, I mean, I think as far as wells in the county right now, written down here somewhere. Bear with me. There's 378 wells that are permitted right now for the future. Okay, actually permitted. 246 wells have been drilled or are being developed. Okay, a lot of those 246 wells that were drilled, not all of them are horizontal wells. So a lot of them are vertical. They're Marcellus, but they're vertical, and they pay only 20% of what a horizontal well pays. So instead of $50,000, those wells are paying $10,000. But all the wells, from what I understand from the people I talked to at Chevron and so on, there are going to be nothing but horizontal wells from now on. So they will be the bigger paying wells. So, that's where we are with this. I was talking about how, if we have an ordinance, it would be better. It'd be repeatable. It'd be transparent. Basically, the ordinance part of it. Do you have questions about why, how we would do that? And I know that you haven't. We're throwing this number of 60% at you, and you're probably not going to want to. If you want to give us anything, I don't know. You're probably not going to want to give us 60% because,
Well, Joe,
you have.
If I can make a few comments. First of all, just to let everybody know, a little bit about this process, and I'll try to be brief. We had over the last several months, many months, we had approximately 203 people sit down and draft this Act 13 bill. Those people are called our state legislators. 264 if you count the governor. And along with those people, there was a number of other associations. I'm sure the Township Supervisors Association weighed in and applied a little political pressure on the development of that bill, as did the County Commissioners Association, and I'm sure a lot of the industry associations weighed in on that. At the end of the day, it turns out that there was approximately you know, when he decided, first of all, to do this flat tax method, which if there's anybody in this room that didn't hear that I am not for the flat tax, then I'll make it clear right now. We should have a production tax. That was the first mistake on the Act 13 bill. We needed a production tax which would probably give us 3 times the amount of money that we're getting right now.
As they get in West Virginia and New York.
Exactly. In most other states that they have some type of Marcellus or Barnett or this type of deep production gas. You know, then of course the state, and I'm sure, Joe, you're going to say the state doesn't need their 40%.
No, I would never say that, because I think they do.
Okay, and then right now this year the county received $3.8 million. 2.4 of that, you know, was divided among your municipalities, and 1.4 came to the county. Now, I have to tell you, you know, the county is probably, you know, there's not much money that we're going to spend on things that aren't going to help the townships anyway.
Now, our biggest problem is keeping people safe. Okay, second-class township code, when we take our oath, the biggest part of our oath is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens. We are impacted. These wells are destroying our roads and making them unsafe. We have to put our resources on top of the resources that we're getting from the gas companies in place to protect us, to protect and to improve our roads. There's not enough money. You guys are not impacted whatsoever. This is a pie in the sky that got dropped on you.
Joe, I have to take issue with that statement. We have, how many, 80 or so?
63 bridges.
63 county bridges.
Mm-hmm.
We have a number of those bridges that we've reduced the weight limits down to 3,000 pounds. I mean, you can't drive an SUV across some of those
But
bridges.
what roads are those county bridges on? Not on any state roads. They're all on township roads.
Again, we're all in the same boat here,
Exactly.
guys.
It's the point I'm trying to
We're all in the
So-
same boat.
Yeah, so if the county doesn't repair those bridges, it hurts you guys.
Let me
It
ask
hurts
you this.
the people who live in your
How much
municipality.
liquid fuel money does the county get every year?
Oh,
Anybody know?
You have that number?
off the top, hold on.
I'll try to look through my revenues, I'm not sure if it's on here or not, but we'll look.
That number is just like everything else with CYS and HMR.
We've
All
seen
those
reductions.
numbers are going down too.
Sure.
I mean,
It's not like we
you know,
want to leave you with nothing now.
it's not a big secret that the federal and state governments are reducing the amount of support that they're giving local municipalities, but the mandates aren't going away.
Our CDBG money has gone down about 30% in the last 5 years. I mean, we're doing more with less. And you're saying that you're not in favor of that flat fee, and no one is. That was a compromise, I suppose. I think the governor needed to do something. He wanted his cracker plants here. I think that was the gift, to get the cracker plants here, get more jobs. But no, you're not in favor of, neither am I. But wouldn't you like to be able to change that? So you can thumb your nose at them and say, here, we're going to give the township something that they should have had. Something that you need, but you don't really need, because if it wasn't there, you would still be conducting county business and fixing bridges with liquid fuel money and doing what you have to do. This is a pie in the sky for the county.
You know, we've been operating with bandages on our bridges. We've been,
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a rough road with our liquid fuel.
and the townships used to get some of that liquid fuel money.
If we could have done that, we could have used to, if we could have used the liquid fuels money to solve all our bridge problems, it would have been done. You know, there's not enough, we're not unlike you, there's just not enough money there.
Are you guys aware that you can, now let me draw back a little bit. On every township road in this county, there are leases for gas, okay? So there's going to be drilling on every one of these township roads sometime in the future. Let me back. You can't, not everyone, because some of the gas wells will be accessed, from state roads. But most of these township roads are going to get affected. And where you have bridges, they're going to be affected. Do you guys know that you can bond your bridges?
Joe, can I say something?
Sure.
My name's John Yanko. I'm supervisor with Joe at Manila, and I'm also the president of the Fayette County Supervisors Association. I'd like to thank Joe for being the spokesperson here for all of us here today. Just to elaborate on a few things, you talk about experience. There's 3 supervisors sitting in this room today with at least, including myself, 75 years experience. That's more than the 3 of you have all put together. We talk about the liquid fuels, the county bridges and everything. I know for a fact, bridges that we have in our township, and it was told to us that we're allowed to do it. You don't have to build those bridges with a bridge. We can do it. The state can do it. We can put a pipe. As long as that pipe is the size that hydraulic flow can handle. You can do it, and I'm sure you can do it. You don't have to replace a bridge with a bridge. That's going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Some of these bridges that you build, they're overkills in my opinion. You don't need those types of bridges. We never had that kind of truck traffic. You can put that same thing in with a pipe. And correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, is that what we were told?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we had a lot of construction going on with 43 and the impact from the wells and everything in Manila Township. Even though we didn't get a lot of those wells, we get the impact more than a lot of people do. So there's other ways that you can look at this. And from my standpoint, we used to get liquid fuels years ago. We used to make out County aid applications, and that helped the townships tremendously, and I'm speaking from experience. The cost of what it costs to pave a mile of road today compared to when I started as supervisor is 4+ times more what it costs now than it was back then. So a lot of those bridges that you're looking at, and I think you need to look at these things and get these answers, you do not have to replace those bridges with the bridge.
I made a notation on that.
We're already looking into that.
That's something that should have been looked at years ago.
I wasn't around years ago. The fact is we have to use we have to use every advantage. We have to be efficient and effective. If we can put non-structural bridges in, first of all, with less cost.
Well,
it's still unlimited, and we can eliminate the cost of routine bridge inspections.
But, Commissioner, we've done it. We've actually physically did the work. You have a bridge department. They don't have to build those bridges. They can put a pipe in. It's not that hard to put a pipe in. All you got to do is hire a contractor, somebody with a machine big enough to do the excavation work that you need. Your bridge department can handle the rest of it. We've done it. We've done it 3 or 4 times, and it works very well.
Okay, well, just I have to say that our bridge department has done a lot with very little, and most of you guys know that. And we will continue to get more efficient as we go forward. Now, folks, we still have a commissioners meeting to get in, so if you could make some final comments and wrap it up, I would appreciate it.
What can we get some kind of an answer from you?
Well, I can tell you this, Joe. From our perspective, just like your perspective, every dollar that we are going to spend is going to have to be prioritized so we get the most efficient use of that money. So, and I can tell you, we've already had requests from township supervisors to do certain things, and we will look at those very seriously Where they make sense,
Here's
we'll
going to be your problem. You're going to sit on all this money. Okay? And each year, you're going to have people coming to you. And then you're going to have to decide who gets what. You're sitting there as, when it comes to this technical stuff, that we know, you're late.
Well, actually,
And you're-
I'm not, Joe.
What's that?
I'm not. I have an engineering background.
Yeah.
So I'm not, is what you're talking, a lay person. I probably understand more about bridge construction than a lot of people.
Well, but you don't understand road construction as much as we do. We live it, we breathe it, we see it, man. I'm telling you. There's nobody at PennDOT knows more than this group. But yet when they did this Act 13, they didn't have someone like us out there telling them what was going on. Yeah, we had our organization there. So, I'd like to get an answer. The most important thing to come up is the safety of everybody that has to travel those roads. Let me make one more example here. The townships and other municipalities, we take care of about 1,600 miles of roadway. We get about $1.8 million of liquid fuel money from the state to take care of those roads. Yes, we have our own budgets too, but that's what we get from the state. PennDOT has 800 miles, slightly less than 800 miles of roadway to take care of in Fayette County. You know what their budget is? $19 million. If that doesn't blow your mind, nothing will. That's crazy. That proves that we do more with little. We have the same problems as they have. We've got union shops. We got people that need wages. We got every problem that they have on a smaller scale. But
In two different specifications.
what's that?
And in a lot of cases, some
Oh no. Oh no. Absolutely not. So, I think we presented our case. I think what you need to just keep in mind that we need to keep our roads safe. We need every single dollar that we can. We don't have enough. If we can get 60, 50%, here, let's negotiate 50% of your money. That still leaves you you realize what kind of pile of money you're going to have sitting here for years to come for you to spend? That's why we're not asking for all of your money. You know, I mean, we're not. But you're going to have people tugging at you, and then how are you going to decide? How are you going to decide? What if you get a couple of unscrupulous county commissioners that say, I'll spend $100,000 in this community, and I'll spend 80 over here, and I'll give this group 50, and I'll have their votes forever. You got to think of that, because that could happen. I'm not saying it to you guys, but this could happen. And it could happen with township supervisors too. So that money's going to be a problem to you. It's going to be a problem how you dole that money out. You're going to be in the public eye year after year after year. If you would come out and say 50% of this money is going to go to the townships, and these people with all this integrity and all this experience are going to take it out and spend it, and we have a track record of spending our money properly, then have your problem solved. Take your other half and do what you want with it. We need that now. We need it. I guess I've said enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, John. Okay.
I'll put my pit hat on.
Okay, item 4, proclamations. We have 2 today. Is there any other public comment on this agenda? Yes.
Outside.
Like, where did
I'm Bob Softcheck. I reside at 55 Francis Street, Uniontown, Pennsylvania. I'm the general manager for the North Fayette County Municipal Authority. And why I'm here today is to explain, I think there's a resolution on your agenda to extend the life of the authority for an additional 50 years. The initial incorporation of the authority was in 1955. It was incorporated by the Borough of Dunbar. At the time, it was incorporated for a period of 50 years. And
Shut that back. Thank you. Oh, there you go.
okay.
Sorry, Bob.
And the borough incorporated the authority in 1955, Borough of Dunbar. It could have been established for a perpetual time, but it was not. It was only specified to be in existence for 50 years. In 1975, the County Commissioners joined the Borough of Dunbar in the ownership of the authority. And in December of 1978, those articles of incorporation were amended again to extend the authority for 50 years, which means that the existence of the authority would cease in December of 2028. In 2010, the townships of Lower Tyrone and Perry Township approached the authority to extend water service into their townships. There were 130 connections, about 320 residents that benefited from the extensions. That was a $3.1 million project. It was funded by a $1 million grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. There was a $1,700,000 grant from the United States Department of Agriculture. It's a $112,000 borrower contribution and $967,000 40-year loan from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and that's basically the reason for the request to extend the existence of the authority. The loan would be extend out, and if it was closed this month, it would extend out to 2052. And as you can see, the existence of the authority was to cease in December of 2028. So in order to guarantee the loan, the authority would have to be in existence through the period of the debt payback. So that is the main purpose of the extension that's being requested at this time. It would be 50 years from the date that the Commonwealth would approve the articles. Conceivably, it would be out until 2062. Of course, it can be dissolved at any time prior by the county and the Borough of Dunbar.
Yeah, Bob, the reason why, when it was at the agenda meeting, it just said a 50-year agreement, and all of us were a little confused as to what that meant.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that you come and clarify.
Sure.
Well, and let me add to that. Thank you for coming, but let me add to that. At the agenda meeting, when that item came up, I did ask staff, what is this item about? And there was just, I don't know, shrugging.
I think it was a failure in our bond.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Okay.
They should.
No, hold on.
Right.
And it was, I don't know, I'll get that information. So, that was the response back. So after that meeting, then within an hour, the staff did forward copies of email communications. Okay, those email communications were from, I think it was Thorpe Reed. Is that
Yes.
who? Okay, yeah, Lisa
Chianza.
Lisa, John Cupp, our solicitor, Ken Berkeley, solicitor, Amy Revac, chief clerk, and it was informative. The problem is, and that it's not your problem, it's our staff problem that needs to be corrected, is all those emails and communications and information was all the way 45, it started back in October. So what we need to do is to make sure that staff knows that when a request is made, that they immediately, inform the 3 commissioners, because I had about 3 days to find out what this was all about, whereas 4 or 5 other people had all these communications for 45 days ahead of time, and with a simple button of forwarding, it would have been resolved. So it wasn't your fault. Your agency made the proper request to the proper person. We have our internal issue that we have to take care of. So thank you for that information. We do have the resolutions and we do have the information, and thanks for coming and explaining them again.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Any other public comments on the agenda items? Seeing none, we'll go ahead to the proclamations. We have 2 proclamations today. The first one is the proclamation for the Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. And since we don't have anybody here, I'll just read this. This is for the month of November 2012, whereas in 2012 an estimated 43,920 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 37,390 will die from this disease. Whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, is the 4th leading cause of cancer death in the United States, and is the only major cancer with a 5-year relative survival rate in the single digits at just 6%. Whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is usually too late for an optimistic prognosis. And 74% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first year of their diagnosis, while 94% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. Whereas all of the racial ethnic groups in the United States, African Americans have the highest incident rate of pancreatic cancer, with 34% and 70% higher than the other groups. Whereas approximately 1,940 deaths will occur in Pennsylvania in 2012. Whereas there is no cure for pancreatic cancer, and there have been no significant improvements in survival rates in the last 40 years. Whereas the federal government invests significantly less money in pancreatic cancer research than it does in any of the other leading cancer killers, and pancreatic cancer research constitutes only about 2% of the National Cancer Institute's federal research funding, a figure far too low given the severity of the disease, its mortality rate, and how little is known about how to arrest it. And whereas the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is the first and only national patient advocacy organization that serves the pancreatic cancer community in Fayette County and nationwide by focusing its efforts on public policy, research funding, patient services, and public awareness and education relative to developing effective treatments and a cure for pancreatic cancer. Whereas the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network and its affiliates in Fayette County support those patients currently battling pancreatic cancer, as well as those who have lost their lives to the disease and are committed to nothing less than a cure. Whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Fayette County are enhanced as a direct result of increasing awareness about pancreatic cancer and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatments. Therefore, be it now therefore we, the Board of County Commissioners of Fayette County, hereby proclaim November 2012 Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month of Fayette County. The next proclamation is for the Adoption Awareness Month. And I would appreciate Mr. Zavatowski, since he's extremely familiar with this process.
I'm very proud to be an adoptive parent. Every child deserves a loving, nurturing, permanent home. Sadly, 4,000 to 8,000 abused and neglected children in Pennsylvania are waiting for such a home. These children are not newborns. people picture when they think of an adoption. Generally, they are older boys and girls and teenagers who may have unique medical, physical, psychological needs. Adoption gives them a brighter future, brings great joy to adoptive parents, and fewer demands on social services. Adoption is the permanency plan for approximately 4,000 to 8,000 children in Pennsylvania, and nearly all of these children have special needs because of physical or mental or emotional disabilities, because they must be placed as a sibling group, because they are minorities or because they are school-aged. And these children need extra patience and support to help them overcome previous hardship. In 2012, 4,000 to 8,000 children who have special needs were placed in adoptive families in Pennsylvania. And they are families able and willing to adopt children who have special needs. And it is important to stress that a disability or low income or unmarried status does not preclude the right to adopt. Children waiting for adoptive parents and families who have adopted these children require and deserve community and public agency support. Now, therefore, the Fayette County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim November 12th as Adoption Awareness Month in Fayette County. In honor of this event, I encourage all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, businesses, and others to celebrate adoption, honor families that grow through adoption, focus attention on those children who live in the shadow of an uncertain future while they await permanent families.
There he is.
Yep. I make a motion to approve the proclamations.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd just like to add a short comment that I think people who adopt children are very special people. And I'd like to acknowledge Commissioner Zapatowski for those efforts and to make a difference in somebody else's life.
I thank you, Commissioner, but I assure you the difference that was made by him, not me. And he is voided in our heart, my wife and my heart. So God bless it. God bless all the children. Move on before I start crying.
Okay, the next item is the assessment office.
Let me interrupt. Rather than going to number 5, I see that Madonna is here from Veterans Affairs, and that's item number 14. She's been sitting here for about an hour, so I'm sure you would like to get back to work. You're here. I mean, normally we do not have department heads needed at this meeting, but I know that you weren't at the agenda meeting, so I would suggest we move number 14 ahead, so then she can return to her office.
That's fine.
We were just asking to consider the approval to advertise for the following, for the flags, 36,288 flags, and the markers totaling 2,100 markers. And I think there was a question at the agenda, someone had asked, the agenda meeting. Yes, Greene County did go in with us, and they're asking for 7,488 flags out of the 36,288, which is 624 dozen for Greene and 2,400 dozen for Fayette. And
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Under the assessment office, consider approval of the following for real estate tax exemption as they have been deemed 100% disabled veterans by the Veterans Administration of Pennsylvania effective for the 2013 tax year. Mark Schweitzer of Markleysburg, PA.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval to send 4 certified assessors for 3 hours of required continuing education classes on December 12, 2012 at no cost to the county to Oakhurst Restaurant in Somerset.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under the Behavioral Health Administration, consider approving the following agreements and modifications
Make a motion.
as listed.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item 7, Children and Youth Services. Consider approval of the, I'll just read them off, that's okay. And
No, it has to be separate.
They're different. Yeah, they're different.
Different.
Yeah.
Okay. Consider approval of the fiscal year 2012-2013 purchase of service agreement between the County of Fayette through Fayette County Juvenile Probation and Jamonville of Hopwood, PA for the provision of competency-based and victim awareness training and education for the delinquent youth. This is a repetitive 3-session group-based program at a rate of $1,120 per session.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of the fiscal year 2012-13 purchase of service agreement between the County of Fayette through the K-Ton Design Group of Uniontown, PA for website design with content management software, CMS. This is a project cost estimate to include approximately 18 hours at $50 per hour of professional design time to redesign the website, one-time fee, and additional 4 hours of free training for staff to be able to manage and update the website in-house. This will further allow for the requirements to make the site accessible for modified formats such as screen readers.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of the upgrade of the cell phone system to include a data package that will be used by caseworkers in the field to access the data management. We will continue to have 15 phones and we'll replace our current phones with Samsung Stratosphere smartphones at a cost of $0 and a monthly cost of $890.25.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval to advertise for bids on the purchase of 6 tablet PCs to be used by the new staff of the agency is requested.
Move. Oh, yeah. Move. Wait, no. It's got to continue. It's on the second page.
Consider
6 tablets to be used by the new staff is requesting.
Okay, consider approval.
No,
No, this is 2 different things.
Yeah, I make a motion.
Okay. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval to purchase 19 Fujitsu port replicators at a cost of $159 for a total cost of $3,021. These will be utilized as docking stations in the work areas for staff and the tablet PCs previous acquired and requested above.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under the controller, Sean, could you give us a financial condition status report of the county?
Sure. Commissioners, for your approval on this 19th day, or actually 21st day of November 2012, in our general fund checking account at United Bank, we have $6,498,054.64. Monies that are owed to our general fund, which include victim and witness, children and youth, and 9/11 project, total $1,440,000. ARC payments due, which include intermediate punishment, offender supervision, and domestic relations, total $89,983.50. Central service payments, which include C-17, offender supervision, intermediate punishment, and victim witness fund, total $78,686. Funds that the general fund owes are the Tran note in the amount of $4,500,000 and the ARC payment, which is $794,797.75. And I want to point out that that total is only inclusive of the general fund portion of the ARC. That does not include the other departments. That total brings us to $5,294,797.75. For the budget year 2012, our net cash position is $2,811,926.39. Total 2012 revenues, $25,022,658.13. Total 2012 expenditures, $22,040,431.54. Total 2011 expenditures, which were paid in fiscal 2012, are $2,030,829.03. In our capital reserve fund balance, we have $62,983.26. In our bond fund balance, we have $306,919.22. I also wanted to add, Commissioners, that we need to start the advertising process for our TAN note immediately, if not sooner, so that we can have those numbers locked in by January the 1st.
That's on the agenda.
Oh, it is? My apologies. I just wanted to make sure we made that point perfectly clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Under Emergency Management 911, consider approval of the annual Motorola service agreement for 2013 in the amount of $67,330.44 paid quarterly, an increase of $1,961.52 over 2012.
Move.
Second, all those in favor? Motion carries. Under Courts, consider approval of the purchase of 30 training taser cartridges from Whitmer and Associates to be paid out of the 2012 Capital Outlay Fund for mandatory yearly certification for the Fayette County Court Security. The cost of each cartridge is $19.95 for a total of $598.50.
Move.
Before you do that, there is no 2012 capital outlay for the courts. That, if you look at the budget in past years, it isn't there. That should say the 2012 capital, not even the 2012, that should say the Capital Fund 51.
Yes, I'm sorry. Capital Fund.
So if your motion would be to be paid from the Capital Fund 51.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 11, Human Resources Department. Consider approving the promotion of caseworker 2 Robert Madison to caseworker supervisor at $20.52 an hour effective November 26, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approving the hire of Kevin Hansen as a caseworker at $15.12 per hour effective December 3rd, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approving the hire of Julie Heasley Cameron as a caseworker at $15.12 per hour effective December 3rd, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approving the hire of Ashley Chrissy as a caseworker at $15.12 an hour effective December 3rd, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approving the hire of Heather Hess as a caseworker at $15.12 per hour effective December 3rd, 2012.
Move. We missed one.
There is one.
Matthew
Oh,
Sullivan.
okay.
I'll second that. Did you just move?
I'll second the Heather. I made a motion on Heather S.
Second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approving the hire of Matthew Solik as caseworker at $15.12 an hour effective December 3rd, 2012.
Move.
Second.
Consider approving the hire of Mindy Tate Sullivan.
All of you forgot to call for the vote. All in favor?
Oh, Matthew. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider approving the hire of Mindy Tate Sullivan as caseworker at $15.12 an hour, effective December 3rd, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under the Emergency Management Agency, consider approving the promotion of part-time dispatcher Tiffany Shade Bolin to a full-time dispatcher at $12.42 an hour, effective December 2nd, 2012.
Move.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Under fact, consider ratifying the hire of Donald Gallagher as part-time bus driver at $11.07 an hour, effective November 13th, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under the Fayette County Behavioral Health Agency, consider approving the 2013 Fayette County Behavioral Health Administration compensation plan for a period January 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013. The annual increment will be approximately 3%. The longevity seniority increment will continue to be a movement of one step, approximately 3% on the approved salary schedule.
Move.
You just read the behavioral health one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under Human Resources, consider ratifying the collective bargaining agreement between County of Fayette Board of Commissioners and Children and Youth Services employees represented by Pennsylvania Social Security or Social Services Union, SEIU Local 668, for a period of January 1st, 2012 through December 31st, 2014.
Make the motion.
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Under Information Technology, consider approving the promotion of part-time IT assistant Michael Miller to the IT technician at the non-union, non-supervisory pay grade 10, step A, at $12.71 per hour, effective November 21st, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
As you're reading, the prisons and they are all volunteer. It looks like the same dates, other than the. I don't have any objection if they're all read into the same resolution.
That's fine.
Unless someone else has an objection.
No objection here.
Okay, consider approving the 480-hour volunteer internship of Penn State Fayette Human Development and Family Studies major for Rebecca Williams, Sarah Scully, Stephanie Conway, and Caitlin Lemon, effective January 2nd, 2013.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under Tax Assessment, consider ratifying the temporary hire of Kelly Ash as Department Clerk 1 at $9.41 an hour, effective November 14th, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approving the hire of Patricia Hoban as mapping technician at SEIU pay grade 7, step A, at $11.07 an hour, effective November 26th, 2012.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Veterans Affairs, consider approving the transfer of Account Clerk 1 in tax claim Donald Sippel to the Chief Veteran Service Officer at SEIU pay grade 11, step A, at $12.70 per hour, effective December 3rd, 2012.
Make the motion. He is a veteran and also a service officer at the VFW in Connellsville. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under Information Technology, consider ratifying the purchase of a 36,000 BTU air conditioning unit at a cost of $3,000 for the computer room to be paid out of the 2012
To be paid out of the capital fund.
Capital 51 fund.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under Planning and Zoning, consider renewal of the annual agreements with the following third-party agencies to perform inspections for the UCC for a period from November 20th, 2012 to October 31st, 2013.
As listed on the agenda, I will make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Under Commissioners, consider approval of the October 16th, 2012 regular Commissioner meeting minutes.
Move.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of the motion to advertise for bids for the 2013 TRAN note amount depending on budget requirements.
Move.
We should have a not to exceed or some sort of an amount, because
The maximum amount that you can take is $5 million.
yeah, I know, but we certainly won't need to do that. But
Right.
we need to be more clear on that.
As the budget further develops, I think we can get a more accurate number.
What's as the budget stands now? What amount would need to be?
I can't answer that at this time because I'd have to review that. I don't know. I'd be happy to get that information to you, but I just don't know at this time.
Well, at this
it
point, at this point, look, I mean, the maximum is $5 million.
That's correct.
In your opinion, you don't feel, I mean, I'm asking you in your estimate, would we be needing $5 million?
I don't believe that we would be needing $5 million, but at the prevailing interest rates that have been offered of 2%, 2.2%, I would rather be on the side of caution than on the side of not caution.
So,
Controller Lally, what did we borrow last?
We borrowed $4.5 million and
Well,
approximately
in the motion, it
2.
needs to say not to exceed.
Let's say not to exceed.
Obviously, when you do a motion, you can't have an incomplete motion, so
Right,
it should
I
say not to
understand.
exceed
Not to
$5
exceed
million.
$5 million.
Not to exceed $5 million. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider ratifying the creation of a separate bank account for the Marcellus Shell proceeds.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of a motion to advertise for bids for the rehabilitation of the Fredericktown ferry boat.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of a proposed tentative 2013 general fund budget, and this motion should include the total revenues of $27,774,715, total expenditures of $25,608,119 at a unchanged millage rate of 4.51448, and after some in and out transfers, that will our estimate fund balance at the end of 2013 will be approximately it's estimated to be $404,079.95.
This is only a proposed, this
Yeah, this
will
is just
be
a
adjusted.
proposed. There'll be
I'll make the motion.
second. All those in favor? Aye.
Nay.
Motion.
And then
Motion carries.
the reason for the nay is because the county budget should be prepared with the 3 county commissioners sitting down at the public meeting and discussing and providing the input and the direction to the staff as to how to input the numbers. And other than having just the department head meetings, we've had no discussions on projected 2013 specific requests or even county projects, and that's necessary even at the time of the proposed budget. So that's why I voted no. And hopefully that we do have those meetings.
So-
Should have been required. It should have been occurring when these numbers are being just plugged into these line items.
Okay, next item is the consider approval of a resolution for the extension of life of the North Fayette Municipal Authority by a period of 50 years.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider approval of a motion to solicit letters of interest detailing plans along with documentation of past experience for implementation of an adult day reporting center program for the Fayette County courts.
I'm finishing up. I'll have that for you all by Monday, so we can get those letters out. So I'll make the motion.
Before you make the motion, you're making the motion as written on here, correct?
Yes, ma'am. No, I'm gonna play. Today's been a good day. Let's.
You know, the day's not over.
Yeah.
Rather than having this as stating letters of interest is totally different from bids and requests for proposals. And the court day reporting center is way too important for this county to have like an unclear resolution and direction. This should actually say to solicit requests for proposals. And the reason for it is, I mean, we're talking a sum of money because, let me just go back briefly. I know the meeting has been long, but this is important. You know, when I took office back in 2004, the discussion of overcrowding issue obviously was discussed. By 2007, the Board of Commissioners and the prison board at that time passed a resolution unanimously and gave a list of items to the Criminal Justice Advisory Board, list of items that we had already reviewed, prior studies, everything. I mean, that information is available for anyone to look at, and the newspapers reported on it. And what had happened, though, is nothing happened as far as taking it to the next step of implementing a county day reporting center. And one of the reasons, I'm sure, is because there was going to be a change in the administration, because this was sometime in 2007. And you know, it's interesting to me that the one company that we, as the county, have just recently, in August of 2012, listened to their proposal, because the county has already received one proposal with figures and everything, but it wasn't done under a request for proposal. The president judge contacted a company called BI Investments, I think it's called BI something, and had that company come to the CJAB meeting, and they presented a proposal. It's interesting because in 2007, that same company came. That same company had been contacted by actually me, and I have a letter that says thank you for your interest, and I gave that information to the new Board of Commissioners and the new prison board. So, you know, here we are now 4 years later. So this company is a good company, and I'm sure that there are other companies, and we do, because of the cost involved and the importance of this, we do need to solicit other agencies and other companies that may be able to provide the service. If we don't do it in a manner such as a request for proposal, you know, one of the things we should be very cautious of is not releasing, for lack of a better word, some of the information in that proposal, because that would be very unfair to the other companies, to the other prospective vendors. So, I would ask that if, that we not do that. And see, that's one of the reasons why it's really important that before things are done, and I see this happening in the last couple of weeks, just department heads contacting individuals and getting prices. You can't do it that way. It's not the proper method. It does not it doesn't meet all of the requirements for county code. What the court system did is they contacted this company. It's now called Geo Group. And they presented the information. They gave us the cost. We need to allow and permit other prospective vendors and vendors to provide that same information. Whatever we asked for, so as you prepared, but whatever we asked for from BI, and I'm sure that the courts can give you that, we need to make certain that those same items, the scope of work, is included
for everyone. So do you want to call this a request for proposals?
I would say
I agree with you.
Okay, I wrote something down, and I'm just going to throw this out. Okay, this is not in form of a motion at this time, but to solicit a request for proposal to establish a adult day reporting program, and the scope of services that we would address would be the treatment, case management, supervision, service coordination, and physical location. The reason I stated the scope of services in the request for proposal is for clarity reasons, and because that is what was asked for under with the CJAB and BI had provided. Okay. The other, and I mean that's important because when BI had provided that information to us, they gave us figures with them providing a physical location versus with the county. Yeah. So you're talking a sum of money that is nothing to shake your hand at. So I would suggest to do this.
I would accept that in the form of a motion. If you're going to make the motion, I'll second it.
Okay.
I just want to make a little bit of a caution here. We want to be careful not to list I think not to list in any kind of detail the list of services that to be provided to us, simply because those services were listed on one company's proposal. I think we don't want to limit ourselves to companies that may offer different services or different types of services, and I think we would be wise to make our request a little more general and see what we get.
Well, I would have to disagree. First off, those scope of services that I listed was not off of one proposal. It was actually off of the proposal, as well as a letter that all of us received from another agency asking that they be permitted to provide a quote for these services. So it's actually a combination of the letters, it's a combination of the information provided by that company in August of 2012, as well as a request from an agency that is
HPHS.
Yeah.
Well, may I interject?
And also, excuse me, one other thing. Plus, in 2007, when this same company sent this packet of information, it lists those same services. So I would say the scope of services to include but not be limited to.
Well, I was going to say, or any additional, you could add.
Yeah, we have to have, you have to have a resolution, a direction, a clear direction from the county commissioners when we are asking for a request for proposal. If you don't designate some sort of the definition of a scope of work, we're not going to get the same thing. And that comes just from years of experience as being a commissioner.
But in your motion, we can include any additional programming that which would address your question.
And any other, right. And we've been we've been burnt before because we were not in this instance, but on other instances that our scope of services were and scope of work and our request was not clear enough. So that's what I mean when I said, been there, done that. We need to be somewhat clear. So if I would, let me ask a question very quickly because you have two councils. Do you have anything to offer? I mean, if I would say solicit a request for proposal to establish an adult day reporting program, the scope of services to include but not be limited to. These are general. If you look at all of the adult reporting programs, it would be included but not limited to the treatment, case management, supervision, service coordination, and physical location.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that you threw in not to be
Included but
limited
not
to.
limited to.
I mean, that way it can include anything else that.
And the reason for that is because there may be one agency that would not be able to provide a physical location, whereas there is another agency that may be. So.
In addition, this is a service that has over a relatively short period of time that has been making great strides in helping people that have been incarcerated in terms of helping them receive training to better be able to get jobs and become productive members of society, to help them with other areas of skills training, whether it's life skills or parenting skills. And I not only look forward to strides to be made in the future with these companies. The success rates of various companies are obviously going to be something that we also need to compare and look at. But I think that we just want to make sure that we are able to review the processes of these companies and not ignore some state-of-the-art methods and procedures that may be on the forefront that we don't know about yet.
That was my motion.
And I think that satisfies it by that not limited to if there is any newfound approach to this. Do you not agree, Councilor?
I do. I mean, I think it gives it, a different latitude than leaving that language out as you did.
Okay, I'll second the motion then.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider ratifying the changing of the November meeting date to 10 a.m. on Wednesday, November 24th at the Public Safety Building.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Consider ratifying the following transfers as listed at a total of total debits of $26,798.25 and total credits the same.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Are there any additional public comments?
Before we go to public comment or public announcement, I just want to go over just briefly a couple county issues. And it doesn't require official vote, but it does, it's important that it needs to be said and discussed and perhaps handled after the end of this meeting. One item, generally speaking, is the manner in which some of these items are being brought to the commissioners and the timing of it. For purposes of having both solicitors and the chief clerk, and then I'll talk to some other department heads. When a request is made from a department director to either directly to one of the two solicitors, one of the three solicitors, or the chief clerk, and that has been done in the past couple of weeks, it's very important that upon receipt that you make sure if the department head has failed to, or the chief clerk may have forgotten, to make certain that the all 3 county commissioners are informed at that time. Prior to numerous emails and research being done by county solicitors and conversations with third parties. The reason for that is a number of reasons. Number one, you need to know what the decision of the 3 county commissioners are, the majority, before you can move forward on something. And many times you need to have authority and have a resolution passed before you can do that. And I'll give you a couple case in points. And thirdly, there's no, if the county commissioners are not interested in pursuing, then you can save a lot of time on the part of county solicitors and staff. I'll give you, for instance, one. Recently, there was a request made by a department head or public works director because it was given to him, an outside request from a gas company that the county consider a pipeline easement through one of our county parks. Now, as soon as that request comes through, that needs to be, we need to know about that, because by the time that one of you 3 or 4 forwarded that email to the commissioners, as you scroll down, you can see all of this conversation and back and forth between everyone other than us 3. And we may or may not want to consider it, but there's research being done, time taken from Ken Berkeley, time taken from John Cupp, and also with Cheryl Hyde. So keep that in mind, staff, to make sure that when the request comes through, that it comes to the county commissioners first. And then we'll either place it on the agenda and say, yes, we want to consider possibly an easement through one of our county parks, but we need to get involved at the onset, okay? The second thing is, I have a question. Mr. Cupp, Solicitor Cupp, had sent an email to the county commissioners, and how you started it, it says, in response to Commissioner Ambrosini's question regarding board appointments, and then your email said something about taking 40 minutes to do research on the time, on the process of counties appointing board members. And after your statement of 40 minutes of research, and then you provided Westlaw, you asked Ken Berkeley, solicitor, to weigh in, and he came back with, I think that his statement, his one sentence was, you cannot fill a vacancy, you cannot fill a seat until it is vacant. But I don't even know what the question was, okay? And I'm wondering why, there is like a delay. We obviously can't fill can't fill a seat until it's vacant, but we most certainly can, unless we're in that type of a year where we have a lame duck commissioners and we don't hear. We can start the process in a very timely manner. What Fayette County has done, and it has caused county boards and county authorities problems, is we've waited too long to make our board appointments. You can say in November that we appoint so-and-so to be effective on, we've done it in the past. I would hope we could, because then all those years that Commissioner Zabatowski and I served together in my prior years, then we did it wrong. And I don't think that you can say that, effective on January 1st or the first Monday or the expiration. We can do that. So what, can you tell me, was there a problem and as to why, this research and everything was needed? And then the other thing is, if it's just for one particular authority or board, I see that, we had a email from the airport, and I know they said that they want to change their bylaws, and it would possibly change the terms of the board members. Well, we can't hold up, an entire process. And how many boards do we have to fill?
There's a good many.
There is a good many. So, can you shed a little bit of light on that? And is there an issue? Is there a delay? Is there a problem? That's basically what I want to know.
Well, number one, I would say, speaking first, that I was not aware of that. Usually, I think if emails that we have shared, Commissioner, usually I'm chiming in, just like you pointed out on that question.
I would like to follow that up more, because I do think there's case law that says you cannot make an appointment until there is a vacancy. So, you know, and there may be some nuances to that that, you know, I should look at, but and I think John and I were in agreement on that. But I mean, you know, point taken, and you know,
yeah, let's
I
look
think,
at that.
you know, but sometimes, I mean, I think, and maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. You know, a lot of times the emails are conversations. It would be the same, I think, as me talking to John about a point that's come up, or talking to you in the hallway of the courthouse or something like that, and following up with it. You know, I'm not sure,
Well,
and we need to determine that. But,
Well, I'll ask Solicitor Cup, because, I mean, you said in your email, in response to your question, which was Commissioner Ambrosini's, I mean, what are you researching? I mean, what's the delay?
I simply asked John, when can we start appointing people? Because I was also interested in doing this in a timely and effective manner. So I simply asked John, when can we, you know, start appointing people to the various boards and authorities?
Did we get an answer? Did we get an answer? Because we're...
The answer that I gave was that all the case law and everything that I could find, and I use a computerized research system to look for that, was that you can't make an appointment until after there is a vacancy. And that was the answer.
Okay, so because authorities begin the first Monday of January, and that's based on information received from our 3 county solicitors in past years. Okay, authorities are take the first Monday, and then the other boards are December 31st. Then to avoid having all of these boards not have their meetings in January, because that becomes a major problem. They need to reorganize, okay? And if that's the case, we need to begin the process of soliciting letters of interest and then also doing the interviews. And if you don't want to formally vote until after the first Monday or sometime after December 31st, then we need to schedule a special commissioners meeting to make those appointments so as to not delay the actions that all of these other boards are taking. We get a lot of negative feedback from some of these boards that says we can't reorganize and we can't hold our first meeting because the county commissioners have not taken any action.
Commissioner, with the exception of last year, we were consistent with having the board appointments on at the date of the reorganization of the county commissioners. That last year was the only...
That's because it's the beginning of a year,
yeah,
for all new commissioners.
Right.
But we're not going to reorganize. We don't reorganize.
No, I understand. I mean, we've always been pretty consistent with...
Well, if you look in some of the past, there have been times that they have actually canceled meetings. I mean, we have letters.
There's been a few, yes. I understand.
And I don't want to confuse this with the lame duck. We all understand that, okay? If there were new commissioners and they would appoint in December, we can't do that. That's not what this is about, okay? So since I've been on the board since 2004, we've had 3 county solicitors all chime in, and how we were doing it was just fine. So we definitely need to have, look into that, please, because you know, and don't just send the case law. Tell us the pros and the cons, and so we.
Let me see if I understand what you're saying. The past practice has been, as you remember it, is that if there was a vacancy occurring in an authority or board in January, that you have in the past made the appointment for that vacancy in, for example, the December meeting, but said effective January 7th, 2013.
Sure, yeah, right. And that's basically, and that is over all the years since I've been you know, here, and we've had the solicitor sitting right there, and they've never made any comment. So
I think there's case
you
law
want to
that
do it
says
right.
that's wrong, but
That's fine.
it might be more
That's fine. We want
factually different.
Yeah, we want to do it right. Okay, we want to do it correctly, but at the same time, we do not want to hold up these boards and authorities. And in any event, there is absolutely no reason why we cannot start the process of getting the letters of interest and the interviewing. That's a given. That needs to be done, you know, actually, in my opinion, back in October, because we have a lot going on in the months of November and December. And if we want to schedule a meeting, be it because it's already a reorganizational meeting or a special meeting, because we certainly don't want to wait till the third week in January to make board appointments.
No.
Okay? I don't, and I think, I know in the past we've had a special meeting in January for the official vote. But we certainly don't want to delay anything else. Okay? Maybe if we have more of a conversation, as, you know, because is it in the newspaper?
I think that it was placed in the newspaper.
Is there a date?
No, but I was just going to ask that we need a deadline date.
So it was in the newspaper, but the paper doesn't say a
deadline
date? Okay, see,
So we need to pick
that's
one.
that's another
We need to
issue.
pick one
I mean,
today.
yeah, when do you do the
So
cutoff?
it's placed in there for
Right.
tomorrow.
Right.
Well, let's.
And, I mean, I don't know, what do you think? That's what I was looking at my calendar. What do you want to give, 2 weeks? Week and a half?
We don't.
Yeah,
We
second-
usually
What's the
give like,
schedule with the?
we usually give like 2 weeks. We usually have.
So in 2 weeks from today,
I'll say sometime. What, December 10th, 15th,
I would say
something like that.
10th.
December 10th
Friday's
is a
the
Monday.
I would say
Yeah,
Friday's
let's do
14th.
that.
December 10th?
That's fine.
Um,
Just have it. We don't have to do it.
I'll agree with December 10th if there's no objection.
Yeah, and the newspapers will please, you know, put that in there.
Okay.
Okay, that would be
And
helpful.
that will come to my email address.
Okay. Everything else would be the same. And in
Or
the
or
meantime,
sent to me in the mail.
right, and then in the meantime, we can get a definitive answer of when the official vote is to take place. Be it after December 31st or after the first Monday, whichever the case is.
And then that week I will
That's fine.
set up the meeting.
Quickly, I only have two other items. There was an issue with an auction, and I can tell you that I was
That's okay, I'm sorry.
okay. There was an auction for the county to bid on a property on Iowa Street. And I can tell you that I was extremely, not only surprised, but actually even taken back a little, that I opened up an email just like 2 or 3 days ago that was forwarded to me. And in looking at that, there were these, you know, conversations between council and other parties about the county agreeing and wanting to bid at a auction for a building in Uniontown on Iowa Street. And in that, one of the emails actually said that the county commissioners wish to bid on this piece of property so we can become owners. And I'm reading that and I'm saying, when did that occur? I've never had a conversation with my fellow 2 commissioners. And not only did the staff, certain members of the staff and solicitors have, you know, the research, but also direction was given to have an appraisal done. Direction that the county authorized. I don't know who in the county is authorizing this. Coppolino, is that the appraisal? I called today, found out that the county authorized he was paid $500 to provide a appraisal, and then there was discussions on what the rules and the requirements would be for us to send our public works director down on Saturday to bid on this building. We had a high price, a low price. I'm thinking, are there commissioners around here? You know, let me ask you, did either of you 2 give any direction for all
There
this?
was a letter that was circulated that I signed off on. authorizing that the county take part in the auction.
Extremely surprised on that. I got an email that I just told you, I've never seen any of that letter. And if the county is going to purchase a building or seek to purchase, one of these, this Iowa Street kindergarten, I don't know what the reason for it is. That should be discussed. I mean, I understand bidding and you don't want to release too much information, but certainly we should have called a public meeting, called an executive session, discussed what building we wanted to purchase, what our high and the low was, and from what I understand, the building was sold to a local businessman for what, $180,000. I tell you, according to the appraisal that the county received, that I just got a copy of, that congratulations to him. He got a one heck of a good deal because the market value was way too high. And if the county was very serious about that, then the county commissioners should have done something. There's a possibility that a great loss here occurred because of the lack of the timeliness and the information. I've never seen a letter, never had a conversation. One would think that you would do that by resolution. I'm not saying that I'm against seeking a building. If we need a building, why do we need it? And then number two, let's have discussions on this. What are our high and low? How much money? Where was the money to come from? I mean, there was even one statement that says, let's get a check from, let's talk with Controller Lawley to get a check. I mean, there's definitely an issue and a problem here on that. And who typed the letter? Can I ask who typed the letter? If there is you said that you signed off on a letter.
That letter was typed by my administrative assistant.
And it was circulated. It was in the box.
You weren't here. You weren't here.
Did you put it in the tray or what?
At one point, I believe it was.
This was
we need definitely. I mean, a letter. We need definitely to have a meeting, okay, and sit down and discuss what's going on here. What the interest of the county is, and what our highs and lows are. Give me a copy of that letter, please. Because if it was something that we are interested in, then we need to discuss it. And if it's something that is beneficial to the county, then all three commissioners should sit down, give clear direction to our assessors, our solicitors, so that and if this was a missed opportunity because of lack of communication or lack of activity on our part, that's a shame. But we certainly need to have. And not only that, whose money was going to be used to spend this? I would think it would be the public money, so one would think that was a rhetorical question. So, John, I would think that we should at least say that have that discussed and have some input. So
I'm trying to check to see if there were emails, but I thought there were emails going back and forth regarding this, and.
I have not.
You were copied on.
Yeah, 3 days ago. I mean, I didn't communicate. I didn't even. I read it where it had all of this information on here, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? I picked up the phone and called the assessor. I tried to call John because you said you're sending over a copy of an appraisal. The first email, I believe, is dated it was dated the day we were closed, November 12th. That was the first email. November 12th, and the auction was to occur November 17th.
That's correct. That's according to this. Yeah.
So, and obviously, the courthouse was closed on the 12th. So, if you look at the chain,
I mean, there was questions asking whether it was permissible.
I made a copy. The first email was Monday, November 12th. From
there was a letter circulated. In the trays that had, I know all three of us listed on it. So I can only comment based on the fact that I signed off on the letter. But there were emails circulated.
The first email, I have it printed out, Vince. First email where it has you, me, and Ambrosini copied is November 15th.
Yes.
The one before that only has Bob, John, Ken, and Commissioner Ambrosini. So the first one was November 15th, okay? And the sale was supposed to occur November 17th. definitely there's a problem. You know, we need to.
Yeah, in this particular case, we weren't even aware that these buildings were potentially available until what that would have been the 10th, Friday the 10th. I asked the Director of Public Works to look into the buildings to see if they would be useful to us. And I also contacted Solicitor Cupp to see if there would be what the process would be for us to actually bid if we thought that the buildings would be useful. So when we did get to the point where we did consider purchasing or at least bidding on the buildings, the timeline was such that there was just no time to call public meetings and go through that type of process. There was emails obviously issued, and for the the letter for signature was distributed Friday morning. Commissioner Zimmerling was not in the office Friday morning, so that's why she wasn't able to sign it. The auction was Saturday. The building did go for $180,000, although that's when other people stopped bidding. I have a feeling that the building would have went for more if there was additional bidders. There was a brief conversation on what the possible bid should be, and I think if we would have gotten the building for that amount, it would have been a very good deal for the county.
And why did anyone go and bid on it?
Yes, well, we went. The Director of Public Works and myself showed up at the auction, but it was obvious. We didn't even have a chance to put up our hand because it blew past what our price was pretty quickly. So,
well, issue is this, okay? First communication, as documented by the email, is that I was informed was November 15th, Thursday at 11:07. If this became known back on November 10th, then you're talking 5 days. What I would strongly suggest, since there are 3 commissioners, is at that point, if one commissioner, no matter who it is, has an idea that they wants to initiate possibly the discussion, then that is when we should call a meeting. There are things such as executive sessions. Okay, there are things called emergency executive sessions. Okay, and the timeliness, especially if 10th was a Friday. I know Monday the courthouse was closed, but you had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That it's again something that is very important. I mean, if it's a building that we need, and it apparently was something that was of interest. If you even had Coppolino prepare a appraisal on it. So again, solicitors, it seems that you're being notified pretty darn quick. Okay, if you see that my name is not on it, our conversation, when you respond, you keep me in, and I would ask the same with commissioners.
Do you have another brief item you would like to discuss?
Yeah, give me a minute. Okay, don't rush me. The last item concerning requisitions and the payment of requisitions, especially a requisition that has not been paid for me. There was back in June and this does not mean that we have to have an official vote, but if the procedure is not clear, then we may have to put this item on the agenda for next month. In June, I got notice that there was a CCAP conference. So I contacted CCAP through the manner in which every other commissioner and county departments do. I went online, I registered for the CCAP conference, I paid with my credit card. That was in June. You do that so you can get a discount. In August, I attended the CCAP conference. One of the reasons, well, there's a list of reasons why I attended. So I attended the CCAP conference, paid roughly $599 and some odd cents for that. Attended the conference. I am on committee, and that I was there for a 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon committee meeting. Stayed overnight, did what I had to do, and returned back. Waited a month for my bank statements, Visa card to come back, processed that information. That was in September. Processed that September 4th. Processed that through the assistance of staff. And waited all the month of September. Normally, reimbursements are made within a 2 to 4 week period. Waited the month of September, waited the month of October, still nothing. Approached Chief Clerk and one of the staff members downstairs who helped in processing the paperwork, asked if there was a holdup. Chief Clerk said she signed off on it, she doesn't know where it's at. I said thank you. Within 30 minutes, that requisition showed up in the tray. Chief Clerk's name was on it. Al Ambrosini's name was on it. It was scratched off, and there was a statement. Commissioner Zimmerling, please make an appointment with Commissioner Zavatowski and myself to discuss this. Wondering, okay, why? Commissioner Ambrosini was at that same conference. He stayed longer than I did. I take that out of the tray. I approached Commissioner Ambrosini. Commissioner Zavatowski was not there. I said, Commissioner Ambrosini, what is this about? He said, just make an appointment to see us. Okay, why? Number one. Question is this. This is a reimbursable expense. I pay this. I fronted the money to save the county money. I attended the CCAP conference. I am on a committee. I chose not to stay for the full conference. However, I did attend sessions. I went through the exhibit hall, and I also picked up materials. I decided not to stay a second day. It's $200 a night. If any other commissioner wants to stay, that's fine. Commissioner Ambrosini did stay. That was fine. I decided to come back. There's no reason why I should not be reimbursed that amount of, reimburse these expenses. In addition to, number one, I'm a commissioner. Number two, I don't go to conferences just, at a whim. Number three, I have served on the County Governance Policy Committee for CCAP in the past years. They just invited me again to serve for the year 2013. Plus, I'm on the National Gas Task Force of CCAP. Commissioner Ambrosini just returned from one. That's why this meeting here is a day late, because he just returned from a 3 or 4 day, 3 day, I think, conference. The same conference. I did not go to this one. I'm wondering, well, will I be reimbursed, okay, for my expenses? So I did not go. Therefore, I'm on the seat of the National Gas Task Force, and I serve on the committee also for the County Governance Policy Committee. So I missed 2 of those because of this issue, and that I'm told that I need to make an appointment. There's no need for me to make an appointment. If there's an issue, as I stated in a memo that I attached, if there's an issue with this reimbursement, then it needs to be stated. And also, if you're going to question, then it needs to be questioned for all the commissioners and for all the department heads. And even if you need to, if we have to vote on that, then we'll need to do that. But I should not be reimbursed, and I should not be precluded from attending any future, especially whenever I've been invited by the CCAP to serve on the committee again, and also to serve on other committees. Those CCAP conferences are informational. If some commissioners choose not to go, that's fine. You can look up in my years of service as a county commissioner how many I go to and how many I do not choose to go to. And when I find that it's not necessary for me to stay for 4 days, I return. I know Commissioner Ambrosini has gone. He's a new commissioner. He's gone not only to CCAP but to others. He takes his wife with him. That's fine. He doesn't when he turns in his expenses. It's stipulated that the expenses that we're paid. I go. I got up Saturday morning, did what I had to do. So I want to know, number one, if there's an issue, if there is not an issue, to process that payment, and also to not do these types of things to stop me, preclude me from attending these types of CCAP conferences. And if there's an issue and you need to talk with solicitors, we've got them both here. You can talk now or you can talk later. If there are problems, then we need to address those problems, and perhaps we'll need to review each and every request for a reimbursement for conferences and do it through a vote. So I ask, why has my requisition not been processed? Signed off by 2 commissioners.
The annual conference, which is the one in question here, was actually primarily a three-day conference. The basic question is the taxpayers being cheated here? I mean, we have a there's a registration fee, and it's not cheap for some of these, but I mean, obviously CCAP is a very good organization. But if you're going to go to these conferences, there's a lot of great information. First of all, yeah, there's some committee meetings on Sunday, but the conference doesn't really start till Monday morning. That's when the keynote speaker is there, talks about very important issues. Tuesday is the day where we have the business meeting in terms of, you vote on very important issues. There was 10 extremely important issues that the CCAP brings to the table that we all voted on, in addition to electing the officers for CCAP for the next year. I was so I spent Monday, Sunday obviously, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at that conference. A lot of great information that helps the counties. I mean, we should have representation there. If you're going to go for the conference. Don't go and spend less than 24 hours there, then come back and issue a press release to the press that says I was at the conference. It makes me sort of wonder.
Your headline was on there, not mine, and this should have nothing to do with a press release. This is a matter of a reimbursable expense, okay? Has nothing to do with issuing a press release saying, hey, I was there. Number one, I have attended CCAP conferences and stayed more than one night, okay? Check the records. I stay whenever I feel that it is important for me to stay. If there are sessions that I wish to attend and that would to stay overnight another day. I mean, again, Hershey Hotel is $216, okay? I have stayed for more than one day, but in this particular instance, I deemed it appropriate for me to return. The $200 that I paid for the overnight stay, and then it was $300 and some for the conference. Well, you get materials. Just because you may not attend a conference does not mean that you don't bring back the materials. And
you can get all the materials online. You don't have to go there.
Well, the reason that let's go on here. I'm not going to have a fellow commissioner dictate to me and tell me what sessions I should attend and what sessions I should not attend. It was important to me to be there because I serve on those committees. I was asked to serve, and I do a good job with my fellow commissioners. You can look at the business meeting. You don't have all 67 counties present with all 3 county commissioners present. As a matter of fact, excuse me, Vince, Commissioner Zavitowski. As a matter of fact, when I was leaving, I had fellow county commissioners leaving with me. Here's here's the conference that I chose not to attend. I chose not to stay overnight the next day and attend the State Federal Program Conference. I don't need to. I didn't feel that that was necessary. Solicitor session. I'm not a solicitor. Cyber security wasn't of interest for me to spend the extra time and the money there. Doing business with the State Department of Corrections. We don't do business with them. And how about stop global whining? Well, if you want to go to that one, I don't need to go to a conference that says, or a session that says stop global whining. Also, that was Monday afternoon. Tuesday, yes, there was a business meeting. It lasted a few hours and there were votes, but there's not all the county commissioners. The rest of the day, there was a sport clay shoot and a golf outing. I didn't feel it was necessary for me to stay and then spend another $200 to stay because I don't do sport clay shooting and I don't golf. Okay, and then for the Wednesday, it was a session that was called "Been in Office for 7 months. Now what?" Well, I've been in office since 2004. Why would I go to that? You may, and that's fine that you can go, but I chose not to. And then the rest of the time was prizes and a dinner and closing.
So if I may.
So the point is this: when I went, I attended the sessions that I felt was necessary. I got the materials. In the evening, on Sunday evening, I went through the exhibit hall. I talked to vendors. I had very good conversations with fellow commissioners talking about overcrowding issues. There's a number of things, Marcella Shell, a number of things that you do. Very beneficial. But to say that I should not be reimbursed, and then to bring up a press release, that's just ridiculous. So I'm asking that two commissioners sign off on that reimbursed expenses and process this. If not, we're going to have to go through we'll have to discuss this at the next county commissioners meeting. Go ahead, Commissioner Zavitowski, if you have a question about this.
So just for clarification purposes, I don't want to get into it's the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm not going to get into a drag out here. So Sunday you went, obviously, because you're on the one committee. You said the Government Conference Committee.
If you're going to go through and ask each and everything that I went through, let's do it for every commissioner and every department.
No, I'm just asking a question.
I will not be singled out, but go ahead.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking a question.
Yes.
And the reason why I asked the question is that the taxpayers have to foot a bill of $600 for less than 24 hours. And that is a substantial amount of money. I don't know what goes on there, and I've never gone, so I've never. Is there what goes on in the evenings? There's more evening hour sessions, or on Sunday evening?
On
usually
besides the
dinners,
and you go to vendor rooms for their hospitality room. Okay?
So there's hospitality rooms,
right. Which.
So I mean, again, I have no problems reimbursing you. But $600 is a lot of money.
I didn't look, the room is $216.
I know you didn't assess the charges, Commissioner.
Right. The room is.
But $600 is a lot for less than 24 hours.
The conference is $350. The same thing that was paid in the same amount that.
But that's a lot of money for we talk about taxpayer dollars, but to spend less than 24 hours at a conference, if you saw the schedule in advance. You knew that there was the issue regarding 7 months in office is what now. You knew that. That was printed well in advance. The other things regarding dealing with the DOC, that was printed in advance. So it wasn't a surprise when I got there. Oh my God, look at these. I don't need to be here for these.
No, but
you knew they were there in advance.
First off, this is not about Zimmerlink. And I know where this is going. You're trying. What's happening here is, let's see if Zimmerlink is wasting taxpayer money because for years she's been saving taxpayer money.
No,
okay?
Commissioner.
Now, this is a conference that I attended. I was there from 3 to 5 at the committee meeting, County Governance Policy Committee meeting. I left it in the morning at 9 o'clock. I got to that conference. I went and attended that policy meeting. I talked to numerous fellow county commissioners, and we set that policy. We did two hours worth of work with Doug Hill, okay, on that. The rest of the evening, I talked with fellow county commissioners across the state on various issues. It was very informative. Talked to even some chief clerks and others. Talked to CCAP staff. If I choose not to Sunday, then stayed Sunday night. Monday morning, attended that caucus meeting, attended the exhibit hall, and attended the opening session. Okay. After that opening session, I chose to take the materials, not attend the solicitor session. Why would I attend a solicitor session? There were solicitors there. There's not every commissioner, when you're there, attends every session. You know why? Because sometimes there's 3 sessions at the same time. Now, to even go down this road and make this an issue of whether or not you wasted $600 of taxpayer money, that is ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
It's a costly 24 hours. That's all I'm saying.
A costly 24 hours. You don't know the valuable information that I received. And if I chose, if I stated that,
then please share that information.
And if I stated that I did not feel it was necessary for me to stay for the Tuesday business meeting, and which was the business meeting to vote on those issues, and other county commissioners left to come back to work, and stay for the as I said, the awards banquet, the sporting clay, and the golf outing, and then they had a 5K run. No, I chose not to. But the time that I was there, that I was there was an effective meeting. And we're going to start questioning these types of things, and to make a comment about a press release. That's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
You have to ask public comment. Yeah, see, yeah. Let's not have Zimmerling talk, so let's hurry up the motion. Yeah,
public comment. I apologize, Mr. Mazza. I thought we had passed that.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, you heard Joe Prezzuto, whatever his last name, Petrucci, Joe. Yeah. I'm talking about the roads and things, and I think you should take under consideration what you can do to help these townships, because I was chairman of the subcommittee, community impact subcommittee, as a member of the Marcellus Shale Task Force, and I dealt with the PennDOT and roads. And these trucks that he was talking about, these roads, some of them are Pinchot roads. I don't know if you know who Pinchot was, but he was the governor of Pennsylvania that first initiated the paving of rural roads. And they're not made for 38 plus tons of truck, and that's what these water trucks weigh. They weigh over 38 tons when they're filled, and they're coming and going. They're taking water in to use and then taking the wastewater out, and they smash the roads up something terrible. Before the impact fees were awarded, PennDOT got on their backs and they did start to repair roads. Now they tell you got impact fees. Well, $29,000 will hardly do the number of miles that each township is responsible for. I doubt if it does. I doubt if $29,000 would pave 6 miles of roads today. If you've had a driveway done recently, you know what macadam. The price of macadam is sky high. So I would think that the county should take under consideration the wants and needs of the townships.
Mr. Mazza, to follow up on that, when you say the subcommittee, right, that's outside of the county. It was the Marcellus Shale Task Force, and you were the community. One of the good things that you did was you prepared a survey and you attended the township supervisors meeting, and you handed out that survey to those present with return envelopes and even stamps.
Yes.
So, and all what they needed to do was return that. I know at the beginning you said that we did not get a very good response back.
Only about half of them came back.
Right, right. But it would be very interesting if you still have those, that if you could compile that information, because the survey and the questions that you asked directly to those involved. What was the community impact, the negative and the positive?
Yes, that's exactly what was asked.
Right.
And I got answers I got replies, I should say, from about a dozen of them, and even some of those had no answers.
And I bet if you sent that same, if we as our group made those copies again, presented those stamps and envelopes, and you sent
They'd
them
probably
out,
get answers
every
from
single one
24,
of them would
yeah.
do it, right?
Probably get 24 answers.
You'd get 24, that's absolutely right.
But I think that the county should take under consideration the needs and wants, because $29, first place, I've lived in Pennsylvania all my life except for a tour of Europe that was provided by the United States back in the early 40s. But I've lived in Pennsylvania, and I have to say, Act 13 is the worst piece of legislation I've ever seen enacted by a Pennsylvania legislature. It's terrible. $29,000. It cost. I was reading an article a number, possibly over a year ago. It cost them about $3 million to drill a well, the horizontal wells, and when they put it in production in a month to a month and a half, they make $3 million. And to give the count and to give
the public know and anyone else that the county single audit for year ending 2011 has been completed. There was a meeting with the auditors and the controller and commissioners to review. There were some negative findings. Those negative findings were relative to our human resource department. We did have the conversation with Dominic Carnicello who is the Felice Associates, to have him address those negative findings. And the only other, there were a number of negative findings with human resources and then there was one for CYS. The CYS negative finding was that it was minor and is easily corrected. In the contracts that the county has with CYS, a paragraph needs to be inserted regarding there was a legal language that was omitted. So we have updated our CYS contracts. It was for drug-free workplace, was omitted from the contracts. That is an easy fix, and we are in conversation with Felice/Dominic to make those negative findings for the year end 2011. So if anyone wants a copy of those or to have a discussion, there won't be any press release. Apparently when I sent a press release in, someone made some calls, but if anyone wants to review the audit finding and overall the for-year 2011 monetary amounts and things, they were in good shape for the year ending 2011. Fairly good shape.
And again, happy Thanksgiving to you all. God bless you all. Motion to adjourn?
Second. All those in favor? Carried.